everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the new cream bronzer that was launched from Charlotte Tilbury. I finally have it in my hands. There was a little bit of a delay on me getting my package, but I finally have it. I'm ready to film with it and share my thoughts with you guys. In this video, I am going to be trying on shade medium, and I end up also trying on shade tan. I will also be sharing some swatches and comparisons of the shade medium and tan in the cream bronzer next to other cream bronzers that I have in my collection, along with other powder bronzers that I have, just so that you guys can see the shade. And I will also share photos under a flash so you guys can see the undertones of the shades. Now, for reference, I am a medium to tan skin with a warm undertone. I will leave a list in the description box down below of popular foundations out on the market and what shades I wear in those foundations, so that you guys can get an idea of what my shade is and what foundations I wear and how these look on my skin on camera. Let's go ahead and jump into the information. So this is what the actual bronzer looks like. It comes in a really beautiful packaging, which I don't expect anything less from Charlotte Tilbury. She always has gorgeous packaging. So this bronzer retails for $56. You get 0.74 ounces, which is 21 grams, and it has a 24-month shelf life. There is a kit that you can buy. So I purchased one of them single. So I purchased one in a single, and then I went ahead and purchased the kit, and you could choose what bronzer shade you wanted, and you could get the brush. So the brush and the bronzer is $91. Now, the reason why I decided to buy the brush, I love the bronzer brush for the powder bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury. This brush right here, I don't typically like the retractable brushes, but I really love this brush, and I particularly love the way that it applies bronzer. So I was very curious how this bronzer brush would work and if it was absolutely necessary. So in my final thoughts, I will get into how I feel about the brush and if you absolutely need it. Now, these come in 4 different color combinations. They are claiming to last up to 16 hours, sweat proof and humidity proof. The skin is 2 times more hydrated in 1 hour. The skin looks smoother by up to 42% in 82 days. 99% of the people who tested the product agreed that the product gives the skin a healthy bronzed glow. 92% agreed that the product improves the look of skin with each wear, and 93% agreed that the skin feels intensely hydrated. That's pretty much the description on these, you guys. You can use these on the face and the body. Today I'm actually wearing it on the face and the eye. I didn't put it on the body. It doesn't say that you can't put it on the eye. Some products that are not eye safe will say do not put on the eye. It doesn't say that you can, and it doesn't say that you can't. So I decided to choose to put it on the eye just for testing purposes, but I'm not suggesting or recommending that you put it on your eye. I did it just for testing purposes, but I'm not recommending or suggesting that you guys use these to carve out the eye structure. So that's the information about it. I personally love cream bronzers, and I love cream blushes as well. So I do have quite a few cream bronzers in my collection, some that I absolutely love, and there are formulas that I haven't always loved. In my final thoughts, I will discuss how this bronzer compares to other cream bronzers that are out on the market. There are so many to choose from. I will definitely give you some comparisons on what this bronzer reminds me of, how as far as formula goes and all of that. So we'll get into all of that in my final thoughts. But for now, let's go ahead and jump into the try on, and I will see you guys all in my final thoughts. Let's go ahead and jump into these new bronzers from Charlotte Tilbury. So it comes in this kind of packaging. This is what the box looks like. And I also have the brush. So I'm gonna use the brush today. There's a few brushes I like to use when it comes to cream bronzers. Typically, I grab the BK Beauty 106. Like, this just really taps the product in place really well. And I also use the Rephr number 24. Again, taps it really well, blends it really well. And I will also just use my foundation brush. So, you know, if you have a foundation brush that you use to apply your foundation, it's very easy to use that same brush and dip into the cream bronzer and go from there. So it just all kind of depends on your preferences and what you have and what you don't, and making what you have work at the end of the day. So these are very large. Let's do some comparisons. So this is the Chanel cream bronzer, And this is the size comparison right here. I also have the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, and that's how it compares. So actually, the original powder bronzer is shaped in a shell, so it's wider this way. But I would say it's just as round as the cream bronzer, just so that you guys can get an idea of just how big it is. So this is the medium shade, and then this is the tan shade. This is the tan, and this is the medium. And of course, I will swatch these next to other bronzers, powder and cream, so you guys can get an idea of the actual shades. Okay, so that's the colors. So that's medium and that's tan. And I kind of have a feeling medium's gonna work. Let's see how it blends on the face and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna try the shade medium first. So I'm just gonna take the brush and dip right in the center. This brush applies really good. It does. What I am gonna do is take my foundation brush and just kind of tap over it and like melt it into the skin. And I do that with all of my cream bronzers. I always go over it with the brush that I used to apply my foundation brush, because the leftover foundation just kind of helps to make it look a little bit more natural. This is definitely a good color for me right now. I'm getting ready to go on vacation and I'll be in the sun. So I'll definitely start to get darker in the next couple of weeks. So I'm wondering if tan will work for me then. But I definitely think if you're my complexion, medium is gonna be a good shade for that very, very natural bronzed look. Like this is very natural on the skin. I mean, you can see it. I don't even hardly have to buff it very much. It just kind of melts into the skin and it looks really natural, like really natural. It's not muddy in any places. It looks really good. So far, and like I said, I'm taking the foundation brush and tapping out the edges. I do that with bronzer, regardless of it being a powder or a cream formula. I always like to go over just the edges to make it look a little bit more seamless and have no harsh lines. Typically for me, on a personal level, I get harsh lines using a matte bronzer more than I do a cream. But the thing that I do like about this formula is that it's not super shiny, so it doesn't have like a super strong emollient base, which makes me feel like the longevity is going to be there. I don't really see this being a slip and slider because it's not super emollient. It's actually very similar to the Chanel. I think the Chanel might be a little bit different as far as just the overall texture. I'm actually going to swatch them and kind of feel them in my fingers. So I'm going to swatch the Chanel in this hand and then the Charlotte Tilbury in this hand. They're very similar, but I feel like as the Chanel bronzer kind of warms up within the fingers, it becomes a little bit more emollient based than the Charlotte Tilbury, like quicker, but they're very similar. The only thing I would say that's different is the Charlotte Tilbury formula feels a little bit thicker in texture. That's where I would say there's a difference, because like over here, this is the Chanel finger. It's like becoming kind of a slip, like it's got a slip to it. It's kind of a little silky. This one, on the other hand, I kind of have to put more effort into moving my fingers around, meaning that it's got a little bit more of a thickness to it. This one kind of becomes, that's the Chanel. This is the Charlotte Tilbury. It's just a little bit thicker of a formula. I wouldn't say they're exact formulas, but they're very similar. Definitely similar in the way that they apply, because when I wear the Chanel, I would say the Chanel color is a little bit cooler on my complexion than this medium shade is from Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm actually really impressed. What I also like about this is that this is actually for someone who has medium skin tones. I can't tell you how many times I have bought a bronzer for a medium skin tone and it's too light. And I always have to move to the tan. And this one I feel like is absolutely perfect for a medium complexion. And I feel like this one is perfect for those who have a tan. So just based on these two, I think the color and the selection and the undertones and stuff, like excellent choices. I am now going to put a little bit of this on the eye and kind of contour out my eyelids just to kind of have fun with it. So I'm gonna first start with a crease brush. This is the Wayne Goss 20. And I'm just gonna pick some up here with my brush and I'm gonna bring it in the crease. Oh yeah, that is a nice color. I'm actually thinking I want to bring that all over the lid as well. Just kind of have it like be really natural. You know what I mean? If you can get it to blend really easily in the eye, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna blend really good on the face. I'll definitely have to pin a comment and let you guys know how this lasts. But I really like how this blends into the under eye, and I love how this looks on the eye. That I do like, especially for those really soft, just easy, natural makeup days. For blush, I'm actually gonna put on a little bit of my lipstick. I've been doing this for the last couple of days, and I love the way it looks. So this is my new lipstick collection with Christian AUDETTE. It's in the shade Bare Nectar. And the other day I put it on that way and I love it. So and it's safe to use on the face. So there you go. They got such good ingredients that it's safe to use. And so then I just like blend it out and it looks so pretty. What I also like about it is that it gives the skin a nice shine, but it still has pigment and my hair doesn't stick to my face. So I just love that. I love that I can wear it as blush and kind of have it match, you know? And it blends so easily. I wore it like this all day and all I did was set it with a little bit of translucent setting powder and just kind of locked it. Okay, so I'm gonna go off camera, finish the rest of my makeup. I will come back and we will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. I was just getting ready to film my intro and I had an issue. So I was pulling my hair back like this and I grabbed my nail right here. You can see it. And you can see that my nail like completely removed it. And I did set the perimeter of my face with setting powder. And I will say, I don't know if this feels like it's changed for you guys being through the camera, but in real life, I kind of feel like I've lost some of my bronzer. I feel like some of the bronzer's gone and it could be because of the color. So when I first applied it, I felt like I got a good color, but when I went over top of it with powder, I just used my Hourglass translucent setting powder and I didn't like buff it. I just kind of tapped it over top just to kind of set it and lock it. And I feel like I've lost the color. Let's go into the tan and see if the tan will give me some color, because the color looks still really good in my eyes, like my eyelids and stuff, but I feel like I just kind of lost it. So I'm going to put it over top of my, woo, shit. Hold on. My hands look so bad. I'm getting my spray tan tomorrow, but I wanted to wait right before I went on vacation. I'm a couple of days past my fake tan due. Normally I would have had it done by now because it looks so bad, but I'm trying to wait until right before I go on vacation so it lasts me for as long as I can make it last me until I can get a tan when I'm there, you know? Like that's kind of the point. So adding a little bit of this tan is looking a little bit better. It's kind of bringing it back. I'm gonna go ahead and set it. So I'm gonna do it on camera. Okay, so I am going to kind of tap over everything. But so you can see I'm not like doing this. I'm just tapping. That tan color kind of helped to bring it back. The foundation that I'm wearing is the Beauty Blender Bounce Skin Tint, and I'm wearing this one in the shade Medium 5. So that's what I have on my face right now. So depending on how much color and how much pigment you're wanting, if you're wanting to wear this as a base, right, where you're not fully depending on this for color, you're just wanting to add the layers to help hold throughout the day, especially in the heat, then I think you'd be okay with medium. But if you're wanting this to give you color and be the only product, you might want to bump up to tan if you're close to my complexion. That's just my opinion. All right, I'm gonna jump back off of here. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches, and I'll see you guys all in my final thoughts. Okay, everyone, I am back to give my final thoughts, and I do hope that those swatches and comparisons were helpful. I tried to give as many comparisons as I possibly could with cream and powder bronzers, so I hope that those images were helpful. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Like I mentioned earlier when I came back on camera and I had that little nick in my forehead where my nail caught my skin and kind of took it off, I kind of have a feeling that that could have happened with any cream bronzer. So I'm not saying that this is the only bronzer that would happen with. I mean, you have to be honest. A lot of cream products, if you do nick your face, you might wipe it off, right? So I kind of want to make that clear. That can happen with any cream bronzer formula. Here's the thing, you guys. I actually really like the formula. I think it's really creamy, but it also has kind of a satin texture to it, almost a satin matte texture where it kind of blends out and it doesn't leave the skin too shiny. There's a lot of cream bronzers that almost have too much hydration and they got a lot of shine to them. So this formula doesn't necessarily have a lot of shine, but it still gives you kind of that healthy glow. So it's not too much shine. So I do appreciate that. And I also felt like the formula blended beautifully. Like I had no problems blending this. What I look for when I am playing with new cream bronzers is how they build on top of themselves. So as you apply more and kind of tap it in and apply more and kind of build up the color, does it start to look muddy? Because a lot of the times it can start to look muddy. And even though this is a more cool tone bronzer and it has more of a chance to look muddy than a warm tone does, it did not get muddy at all. In fact, I used the medium shade and then I went over top of it with the tan shade and it still looks really natural and beautiful. So this, in my opinion, is a very natural, beautiful cream bronzer. So overall, I think the formula is amazing. Now, is this formula fully necessary? Well, it depends on what you're looking for and also what you already have. My suggestion is, if you already have the Chanel Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream, these formulas are similar enough to not really need both of them in your collection. The Chanel, you get a full ounce worth of product. I feel like it will take me years to go through this because I really don't need a whole lot to give me that color. So this full ounce is gonna last me a really, really long time. So I feel like if you already have this and you use it and you like it and the color is right, then you probably don't need the Charlotte Tilbury. However, now, from what I hear, Chanel is supposed to be launching a new shade. I haven't seen any information about that. I've just heard about it in the comment sections and stuff. If Chanel doesn't have the right shade for you, Charlotte Tilbury might offer that. So that would be the only time I feel like it would be worth, if you got this and it didn't work because of the color, maybe you might find the right shade in the Charlotte Tilbury formula. But if you have it and the shade is right and you like it, I don't feel like you need both of these in your collection. That's just my opinion. They're similar enough to not need both. I also want to mention, because the shade is a little bit more on the cool tone side, this is almost acting as a hybrid. It's almost a contour slash bronzer, because where you build up the color, it's a little darker, and where you blend it out, it's a little bit lighter. And as you blend it out, it gets a little bit more warmer, but where you pack the color, it maintains that depth, which kind of gives you that contoured effect. So the shades are perfect. And I would also say that the shades correspond with her powder bronzers. I think she also mentioned if you know your shade in the powder bronzer, then you would want to correspond the shade in the cream, because they're very similar. And I would say they are. I like cream bronzers both ways. I like them on the no makeup kind of makeup days, which is what I'm wearing right now. I got light makeup, like I could do this makeup look in 20 minutes and be out the door, right? I like the cream bronzers for the simplicity of it. If I'm wanting my makeup to last long, then I also like to use a cream bronzer under a powder, because I get kind of that double effect, and it lasts longer than just a powder bronzer alone. So it kind of depends on how you do your makeup and if you want to incorporate a cream bronzer into your routine. For those of you out there who struggle with powder bronzer, I highly recommend trying the cream, because the cream is phenomenal and it blends so easily. The cream bronzer is so easy to apply. Going back to being able to touch the face and creating that nail mark, right? I love Charlotte Tilbury's contour wand. The reason why I love that contour wand is because it kind of works like these cream bronzers do. So where you build the depth, you'll have that contoured effect, but where you blend it out, it kind of gives you that bronzed look. Oftentimes, I will use the contour wand only and not put anything over top of it. The reason why I bring that up is that if you're someone that doesn't want a cream bronzer that goes like, you can go like that and just completely take it off, I recommend the contour wand, because that formula is kind of meant to dry and set down, because it is more of a liquid and it's in that sponge, and as you draw it on the face and blend it out, it kind of dries and sets down, where this is still a cream product, so the cream's gonna set on the skin. So it depends on what you're wanting. If you're wanting a more affordable option to the Hollywood contour wand, this is still one of my favorites. Like, the formula is kind of unmatchable. I've tested a lot of products next to it, but one thing that I can tell you is that if you're looking for something that's more affordable, the contour wand, or the contour wand is sold out, because it's always sold out, I recommend this as an alternative. This is the LA Girl Pro Conceal, and I have it in a darker color. This one is in the shade Espresso. Because it's kind of a concealer, you can put it on and blend it out, and it kind of still gives you that effect, but it sets down on the skin. Once it's dry and it's set, and you don't have to worry about it budging. So if you're wanting something a little bit more durable, where it's gonna stay put, and you can't get this one, or maybe you wanna try it before spending the money on it, because that's another option. Before you spend the money on this one, maybe you could, I think this one's less than $5. You could try this out and see if it works for you, and see if you like the way it looks, and then you could go ahead and splurge and get the contour wand. I use this all the time, by the way. It's something that I reach for consistently. So at the end of the day, it's all gonna depend on what you're comfortable with, but this is a really nice formula overall. I feel like there's a lot of great cream bronzers out on the market. This is one of them, but I need to say that this one is not better than the others. So this one doesn't offer anything more, in my opinion, than the others that we have out on the market. So it all just depends on, I mean, if you're a Charlotte Tilbury fan like me, you're gonna love it, right? I love Charlotte Tilbury. So will I reach for this over another one? Probably, right? So I don't know. It's all going to depend on what you guys want and what you're looking for, but I do hope that the video is helpful. Sound off down below. How many of you guys have picked up this bronzer? If you have, share with us in the comment section your experience with it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.